Okay, hello fifth graders. So this is our math video for Monday, May 4th. May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Anyway, I'm going to try to do this on a whiteboard. It obviously hasn't been overly amazing when I've tried to do the video with a piece of paper. But I'm going to try on the whiteboard again. Not that that was superb, but anywho. So today you're going to be doing Chapter 11, Lesson 8. And the workbook page that you will be on will be 847, I think. Yeah, 847. And you're going to do questions 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to do example number 5, question number 5. And so what you will see on your papers is you're going to see a line. And then in that line, you're going to have a box. And that box is going to have some different fractions in it. On number 5, so mine that I'm doing for an example, it has a third, a fourth, and a half. On your number line, which is what that thing is, I want you to make sure you put the fractions in order from least to greatest, because it's a number line. So again, this would be your 0. So I'm going to put a line right here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line about halfway. All right, and that's going to be a half. Not all of them are going to have a half, and at least one of them will have 3/4. And then again, I told you I have a fourth. So there's my fourth. And I also have some thirds. And so that's my number line for example number 5. And your number lines will be on your piece of paper, and if you want to write it on a new piece of paper, that's fine as well. That's backwards for you guys, isn't it? I don't know. For me, this is on my left. This is my, anywho. So what you need to do is get your fractions put on your number line. And then you need to figure out how, for me, I need to figure out how many fourths I have. And in number 5, there are 2/4. Not 2/4, but 2/4. So I'm going to put an X and then another X. All right. And then I need to figure out how many thirds there are. And there were 3/3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. You don't worry that mine's in color. None of that matters. Anywho, and then I still have my half. So I need to figure out how many halves I have. And look in that box. So for number 2, 3, and 4, you will see a box with fractions in it, unless you're on the wrong page. And so how many halves do I have? And I happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At that point, or at this point, I'm done with my number line. But then when you look on your page, there's a little thing and it says fair share. And so now you need to figure out the fair share. Then around I'll write it as fair as in food. So fair share. I need to figure that out. And so how you do that is you need to figure out how, in this case, these are in inches. So I need to figure out how many total inches are on my number line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my fourths together. I'll use the black again. So I add my fourths together and I end up with a half. A fourth plus a fourth is a half. So should be okay with that. And I'm going to add my thirds. And lo and behold, of my thirds, I have 3/3. And 3/3 equals a whole. So that was nice with them. Then I need to do my halves. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives me 2.5. There's 1. I guess I can kind of do that. There's 1. There's 2. And there's a half. So I end up with 2.5. So all together, so now I need to add these together. So I end up with 4. 2.5 plus a half gives me 3 plus 1 gives me a 4. So I have a 4. That will be your dividend. All right. Now what you need to do is how many different measurements did you have, or how many measurements total did you have? Now I only had a fourth, a third, and a half. But basically, how many X's do I have? That's how many measurements I have. I think this is a swimming one, but that doesn't really matter. It could be, how far a dog ran, a quarter of an inch, not very far. An ant, let's do an ant. But how many times did I measure it? Then maybe that's what I should go with. So how many X's are there? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 4 divided by 10. All right. Now I'm going to put this now I'm going to write it like this. So that's actually 4 divided by 10. Now some of you right now, your heads are like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? That's a great question. What that amounts to is 4 tenths. We're trying to get to our fair share. So right now we're at 4 tenths. Peekaboo. Now anyway, now those of you that are awake, I don't know what time you're doing your math, but hopefully you're awake a little bit. And so you're thinking, our numerator and our denominator are even. And that is correct. So we can reduce this fraction. It's going to divide them both by 2. And I end up with, that's a 5, looks like a J. Now it just looks like a mess, but that is 2/5. And so our fair share is 2/5. Okay. Now I have this on a little piece of paper into your Moodle math course. This is also right here, and I'm kind of holding it here. First thing you do is you make your number line. Sometimes there'll be more than 3 fractions, and not always going to be 3 fractions. Figure out how many fractions there are. In my case, there were 3. And then how many times was each fraction marked? And in my case, there's 2/4, 3/3, and 5/2. And then what you want to do as well, because you might get confused with, geez, do I have all the numbers? And so count up. So in this case, I knew I had 10 numbers, not 10 different numbers, but I had 10 numbers. And so I need to make sure I have 10 X's on my board. And so I did. And so then I knew I was okay. Again, in that box, there's a box, all of them. And you're just doing 3 of them. You're just doing 3 of them because it's kind of a pain. And there's multiple steps there. So that's what that is. Anyway, and then you divide it. So I end up with a total of 4, and there's 10 of them. So it's 4 divided by 10. And that just gave me 4 tenths. Just switch them around. And then you have 2/5. Wish I could ask for questions, but if you have questions, send me an email. A couple of you, at least one of you, I sent you some answers to questions you didn't have, but you would have asked if you're in class. Try to watch for those. If not, so be it. But anywho, hope that makes sense. This is number 5. You will do 2, 3, and 4. That's it. That's what you got. No, we're not even close to that. This is your last Monday of your last full month of 5th grade, if that encourages you at all. You're getting there. I know you guys have been home, but it's almost real life summer break, even though, yeah. Anywho, read carefully, even the questions, watch your fractions. How many fractions are there, and how many times were each of those fractions used? Yeah, that's it. Do well. Hope you had a good weekend. Take care, and I'll talk to you in the internet world. So, adios.